I mentioned a little bit the social factors. Let's go through some of the other. What are your perspectives on social factors? Technology, I think that's a long topic as well. Where do you see the main social factors right now?
If we look into US, the big question, of course, is Medicaid, is Obamacare. It's what will be the future of general health systems, healthcare systems. Yeah, I don't think we will have this strong discussion here in Europe, but in Europe the question will be how can we finance them at a time when generations are shifting, when people get older and older, when the number relationship, the numbers of young people, of people in a good working age get smaller and smaller, and of older people like me get more,
like us,
okay. Goes up. How can we overcome this imbalance that we're going to see? So these are the big questions that we have, and I think it will be maybe not in the next 4 years, but in the near future, this will be the main topic that we have. It's the imbalance between young people and older people. By the way, a way to resolve this would be to have more migration of people in working age and prepared
which is a classic polemic thing that is constantly upheld by people that would
absolutely
would like to come into power to say, hey, listen, let's focus on that. But there's a legitimate need for it because workforce and
I know how it works, what they do. I have a dog, and my dog is very strongly territorial. Yeah, my dog wouldn't need any other dog. Yeah, it's enough to have some people around. No other dog, so it's very, very territorial. So I understand territorial behavior, and that's what these people are waking up. In humans, we also have some territorial behavior.
I think it's always important to feel or understand or empathize with the legitimate fear that's attached to it. I think a lot of society feels like okay, we're not making as much money, our salaries haven't gone up, cost of living has gone up. And I don't have much choice where that's concerned. But if there's one thing that I have influence on whether or not somebody that I know or don't know moves into my cultural area or not is a factor. I'll give you an interesting fact that I picked up a couple of years ago. There was a sociologist from Germany who was talking about it. They were talking about that Trachten fashion, so the traditional German, Austrian lederhosen, dirndl, that sales have gone up over the last decade substantially, and that a lot of the young generations were buying it, and the social justification for it was in a globalized world where we are becoming more and more alike globally. People kind of have a counter movement where they say, listen, we want to focus on something that creates personal identity, okay? Even if that personal identity is somewhat construed.
This is how it began.
Yeah.
It began after 1871 when Germany was united, except Austria, which stepped outside and was kept outside at the same time. Yeah. And this was the time when this began with Trachten. It wasn't a topic before that time. Yeah. And it began at that time.
It was actually something that was more in the country, and people from the city kind of participated. If they had a house in the country, they would pick it up, but it became fashionable. And even in Vienna, there's two balls in Vienna that are famous. One is the Steirerball, one is the Jägerball, the hunter's ball, where it's very, very common. They don't come in ball gowns. You come in wonderful traditional clothing, although how traditional or not it is a different topic.
It's not really traditional. Yeah. It's traditional-ish.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the social thing that I see at the moment. It's the question of the migration, of course, and the other big question is with the ages, with the generations, that the age shift, that people get older, and that people will have to work longer, by the way, which most of them obviously hate. I love it, but other people hate.
I think the demographic thing, if we're going to kind of leave the migration part out of it, is an issue because there's not fewer people coming into the workforce, and they have Generation Z. This has been spoken of several times. It might be a crash generalization, but there's some legitimacy to it. Have a different understanding. They've grown up with a different understanding of what work-life balance is, right? I don't know how many hours you worked when you were in your 20s and 30s, but on average, I never worked less than 60 hours.
Yes.
And I thought that was the norm. If you had the privilege of calling yourself a manager, you didn't have overtime. You just worked. You were there. And I think the newer generations, and there's some legitimacy to it. They're saying, listen, but life is not just about working. So I think these are all social issues.